What up, reader fam? Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on WAPA! The Edge of Everything by Jeff Giles. This video is being sponsored by Bloomsbury, but know that all my thoughts, opinions, and feels are my own, and also this is the Booksplosion Book of the Month for the month of February. Which, if you don't know what Booksplosion is, it's a monthly book club that I host with Christine from Poland Bananas Books and Kat from Catty-tastic. Each month we pick a book to read together along with you guys, and at the end of the month we have a live show. This is our book for the month of February, and our live show will be happening on March 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if this book sounds interesting to you, definitely pick it up and join us for the live show. So first off, let me break down what this book is all about for you guys. This story follows a girl by the name of Zoe who has just been faced with so many hardships in her life. First off, her father has passed away in a caving accident, and secondly, her neighbors who she was really close to ended up being murdered. And to Zoe, it just feels like the hard times are never ending. One day, a blizzard hits their town, and Zoe's little brother Jonah had been playing outside, and he ends up going missing. So she goes out to find him, and once she does, her and her brother end up being attacked by this random guy. Then out of nowhere comes this guy named X, and he saves the two. X is from this mysterious place called the Lowlands. He's basically a bounty hunter, and he's come to take the soul of the guy who attacked Zoe and her brother. And that's essentially where our story takes off. Something that I loved about this story was just how fresh and original this story idea was. It felt like something I had never read before. It was unique in terms of the story and in terms of the world. It is an urban fantasy story, but it's also kind of got like this contemporary feel to it. I guess I should say that when you're reading about Zoe, it has more of a contemporary feel to it, and then when you read about X, that's when kind of more of the fantasy elements come into play. I loved learning about the Lowlands, especially because after reading the description, you just don't know that much about the Lowlands. You just know that X is bound to the Lowlands and that he doesn't want to be bound to it anymore. But I just really enjoyed learning about this world that X is from. I'm not going to reveal too much about what it's like because I want you guys to kind of discover it for yourself and to read this book and kind of learn more about the Lowlands. But I will say that it could be easily compared to hell. It's a very dark place and you just don't want to go to the Lowlands. I wasn't super keen on the romance that takes place in this story. It just wasn't my favorite. It felt a bit rushed, and I would have liked to have seen the two characters that fell for each other to have more development with their relationship. But to be perfectly honest, I've gotten used to relationships like this in YA books, so it really doesn't bother me that much anymore. I really liked the writing of the story, specifically the pacing of the story. It's a super fast-moving story, and it just completely captured me from the start. I read this book in a 2-day period, which doesn't happen very often to me. It usually takes me like 5 days at least to get through a book, but this one only took me 2 days. You just get so completely sucked into the story and you just want to find out what happens in the end. The author also did a fantastic job of bringing in an element of surprise. There were so many times throughout this book where I was just completely caught off guard and surprised and shocked. The author also did a great job of writing these super suspenseful scenes where you're just so terrified for the characters and the situations that they're in. And another thing that I think the author did a really great job of was just pulling in so many different emotions with this book. There are a lot of heartbreaking things that go down throughout this story, and you just really feel that heartbreak. You feel for the characters and you feel what they're going through. The characters were all great. I really enjoyed the full cast of characters. I loved Zoe, our main character. I loved her love for her family. Even in times when she was being super stubborn, you could still feel her love for her family. I loved the mom, even though I felt like the mom should have been more of a parent throughout this story. Like, there were so many things that Zoe just got away with where I was just like, why is the mom letting her daughter get away with this stuff? Like, put your foot down, girl. And Jonah, the little brother, I'm gonna be honest, he kind of drove me crazy at times, but you also just can't help but love him. And I liked X. I would have liked a little bit more of him maybe from the start, but at the same time, this book does kind of do a really good job of growing his character. His character definitely develops throughout this story, and you get to see him grow and change. And considering his situation, you understand why he is kind of more of a closed off character and you don't know that much about him at the beginning. All in all, this was a great read and I definitely recommend checking it out. I'm now going to be jumping into a little bit of a spoiler section. I don't have too much to say about this book, but there are a few things that I definitely want to point out and talk about. So if you have not read this book, you should definitely go read it and then come back and discuss with me. Also, just let me know down below if you haven't read this book and you are planning to pick it up. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1! The first thing that I want to talk about is Burt and Betty. I was not expecting to be so emotional over their death, but when you just see what Stan had done to them, you can't help but just feel so terrible for these two old people. They just had no way of defending themselves. It was just so sad seeing how they died, how Betty died shielding Burt, and Burt died crying over Betty's body. It was just so tragic and so sad. Next up, I want to talk about the fact that I shipped Dallas and Zoe way more than I shipped Zoe and X. Like, there was not any chemistry between Zoe and X. At least I didn't really feel it. Like I said in the non-spoiler section, maybe if X and Zoe had more development with their relationship and it wasn't so rushed, I would be on board this ship. But it was just so insta-lovey and I just didn't feel any chemistry between the two characters. But Dallas and Zoe, there's chemistry there and they work well together, and why can't they be together? Zoe caving made me so nervous. I was so scared when she got sucked up under the waterfall. I was just like, oh boy, there she go. Zoe's gonna die. And also when she gets frustrated with Dallas and just drops the walkie-talkie and it just gets destroyed, I'm just like, what are you doing? That was your one contact with the outside world while you're in the cave. I should have known that Zoe's father was still alive. I mean, we had no body to prove the fact that he was dead, and that is always a sign to be like, hello, they're not really dead. If you don't see the body, they ain't dead. I should have known, but for some reason I fell for the dang trap. And the whole confrontation between Zoe and her father was so sad. It's just so frustrating that he just left his family, and just seeing how him not being with his family has affected his family, and to find out that he's really alive, that was just so frustrating and just so sad. The second that I found out that Jonah was alone at the house while Zoe and X were confronting her father, I just knew that the Lords were gonna go for Jonah. And what do you know? They went for Jonah. And I just have to say that I loved Ripper so much. She is so bad A. And same when it comes to Zoe's mom and she just takes her car and she rams them into the Lords. I was just like, holy crap, Soleil mama Soleil. So those are all my thoughts, opinions, and feels on The Edge of Everything by Jeff Giles. Again, like I said, I didn't have too much to discuss, but there were a few things that I just really wanted to talk with you guys about. You guys should let me know down below all your thoughts, opinions, and feels on The Edge of Everything. What moment throughout this book shocked you the most? I think for me, it was the fact that Zoe's father was alive. Even though I know I should have seen that coming, it still just shocked me. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified for when I post new videos, be sure and go and click subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, choo.